Good afternoon, everyone. Inshallah, today we will start with Module 9, Chapter 9, Lesson 1, page 485, Volume of Rectangular Prism. Volume of Rectangular Prism. Now, please, guys, leave everything besides you and just focus with me here. Now, in the previous chapter, we took area. We took area of parallelograms, we took area of rectangles, we took area of trapezoids, we took area of regular polygons, okay? So we took area in the previous lesson. These figures here, we call them two-dimensional figures. These figures, we call them two-dimensional figures. Why two-dimensional figures? Because each one has two dimensions. The parallelogram, it has base and height. The rectangle, base and height. The trapezoid, two bases and height. The side length and height of a rectangle inside. So we have two-dimensional figures like the rectangle, for example. It has length and width. Like the square, it has side and side. So we call these figures two-dimensional figures. But can we put something inside the rectangle? Can we put, for example, water inside the rectangle? No, because it's a flat figure. We cannot put things inside the rectangle. So we call these figures two-dimensional figures. What we found for it? We found for them the area and the perimeter. And if you remember, the area unit is, for example, square units, remember? And for example, if it's meter power 2, inch power 2, yard power 2, power 2, because we have two-dimensional figures for the area. This, we took it in the previous lesson. Now, in the previous chapter, sorry. But now we will start a new chapter, and we will start with volume. What's the volume? First of all, what's the volume? The volume, let's all of us imagine that we need to fill this room with water, for example. Now the volume is how much we can put water inside this room. This we call it volume. In other words, the volume is the amount of the space inside something. The amount of the space inside something, volume. It has another word called capacity. Capacity, okay? But we'll stick with volume here. So the volume is how much things we can put inside something. Can we put things inside rectangle? No. This board here is a rectangle. We cannot put water inside the rectangle because it's flow down. Cannot. But we can put water inside this room if we close everything and open a little small door up here, opening here our hole. We can put water inside. It will stick and fill. So volume is how much space inside something. What's this something? For today, we will take rectangular prism. But in general, we call them, the things or the figures that we can put things inside them, we call them solid figures. Solid figures. What are the solid figures? The solid figure is any figure that you can put things inside it. Like the box, any box. Like the cylinder, you know, the gas cylinder in the kitchen. You can ask your mom, the gas cylinder, you know, the gas cylinder for the kitchen. You can put things inside it. So it's solid figure. Solid figure, it has two main types. Solid figures, it has two main types. It has a lot of types, but in this chapter we'll take about two main types. The two types we'll talk about them are prisms and If we have people from Egypt here, pyramids, they know that. Pyramids. We have 3 big pyramids in Al-Giza city in Egypt. So, prisms and pyramids. Let's talk about the prisms. What is the prism? The prism, it's a solid figure with 2 congruent bases. Solid figure with 2 congruent bases. Like this room here. See this room? It's solid figure. It has the roof and the floor, and all the around faces are rectangles, right? So the room which you are inside it, it has two what? 2 congruent bases, up and down, and around you have 4 faces. So I will try to graph it here, something like this. Look here. This is box. 3 dimensions, هذا. We call it prism. Why prism? Look up. Up, this is the roof. And down, the floor. We have 2 figures up and down, 2 congruent bases. And around, we have 4 faces. This we call it prism. Prism. But because the faces up and down are rectangles, we call it rectangular prism. But look at this one. Assume that we have hope I draw it very well. Here I have 2 figures up and down, 2 bases, and they are triangles. And around we have rectangles. What we call it? Triangular prism. This one, rectangular prism. This one, triangular prism. So the prism has 2 bases. And when I say base, in the previous chapter, we said base a lot too much. This line we call it base, this line we call it height, remember? In the area, the base means a line. But here, when I say base, I mean this, the floor or the roof. 2 bases, okay? Here we have rectangle and here we have rectangle. In your room, which you are inside it now, the roof, it is base. The floor, it is base, and both are rectangles. I'm talking about the normal rooms. Now let's talk about the pyramids. What are the pyramids? I said if you have friends from Egypt, I think we have some students here from Egypt. They know pyramids. They have 3 big pyramids in their country. We have something like this in the pyramids. We have square or rectangle down, and we have the triangles up, like this one. Look here. Right? This we call it pyramid. How many bases it has? It has 1 base down. This base, see it? The rectangle down, this base. This we call it base. It has 1 base, but here 2 bases. 2 bases, prism. 1 base, pyramid. But here the sides around all are rectangles like the room. But here the sides around all are triangles. So if we have 1 base with all sides around are triangles, we call it pyramids. Pyramid. Here we call it prism. So we have pyramids and we have prism. Today we will find the volume of this only. The volume of rectangular prism. So let's go back here. The volume of rectangular prism. I will graph rectangular prism to know its dimensions. Base up. This is box. Rectangular prism. I have 2 bases. The floor and the roof. الأرض والسقف. It has 3 dimensions. Length, width, and height. So length, width, and height. Assume that your father will close a room in your house and he want to fill it with water. What he will do? How he will know the volume of the room that he will fill it with water? I'm just imagining. He will measure this line first. This line is the length of the room. This line here is the width of the room. Length, width. And this line here, it is the height of the room. So he has, three dimensions: length, width, and height. These are the length, width, and height. Now, to find the volume of it, what he will do? I'll stop here and go here. Here we talked about a prism and pyramid, right? Now, to find the volume of any prism, to find not only rectangular prism, any prism. To find the volume of any prism, the volume is big B H, not small b H. This is the area of parallelogram. No, we are not talking about the base here. No, big B, it's different. In the volume, the big B means the base area. The base area. Let's go back to the rectangular prism. What's the base here? This is the base. Or this. You can say this or this, but because it's on the floor, let's say this is the base. Not this line, no. Big B, huh? Not a small b. Big B is the base. Base area. But we have rectangle here. What's the area of the rectangle? Length multiply width. This is the area of the rectangle. Big BH, so in place of B, we'll put length by width, and the height comes down. So what's the volume will be? The area of the base, it's length by width. Length multiply width. Multiply the height. This is the formula of how to find the volume of any rectangular prism. Any rectangular prism has length, width, and height. If you multiply the three dimensions together, the answer will be the volume of this rectangular prism. Again, what's the volume? The volume is how much the space inside the rectangular prism. So this is the formula: length by width by height. This is the first formula in this chapter. This formula is used to find the volume of your title here. Only. Ahmed Antar.
Mr. You unmute me. I'm Hussein.
Yes, Hussein.
I have a question.
Yes.
Mr. Do we have the base?
This is the base. See this figure? We call it base, not the line in the area. No. Here I'm talking about face.
You mean the floor?
Face. Huh?
The floor?
The floor or the roof. The floor or the roof, we call them bases.
Okay.
Okay, not the line in the parallelogram or the triangle, remember?
Yeah.
Good.
Thank you, Mr.
Good. Welcome. So the volume of the rectangular prism is length by width by height. I have another student here. Yes, Hamza.
Yes, Mr. What's the difference between the base with big A and with big B and the base with?
Remember the triangle?
Yes.
What we call this line? This line here. What we call it?
Base. The
and
base.
This line?
The height.
In the triangle, in the area, the line, we call it base, right?
Yes.
B, A equal half BH, remember?
Yes.
Here, the big B, not the base here is not the line, it is the whole face. The area of this face. Got it?
Yes.
This is the difference.
The roof or the
This-
floor?
The roof or the floor, they are identical,
Not a
they
line.
are congruent.
Not the line.
They are not a line, for sure, not a line. In the volume, but in the area, it's a line.
Okay, thank
Obey.
you.
I don't
Okay.
understand it very well.
Obey.
I don't understand it very well.
This what we call this figure, ya Obey.
Rectangular prism.
It has 3 dimensions, length, width, and height. How to find the volume of, what's the volume? Do you know what is the volume? Volume is how much water you can put inside this box
Okay, okay.
until you fill it. Get it?
Yes.
So the volume, it has formula. Length multiply width multiply height only. I'll give you example. Wait يا أبي خليك معي. أبي
Yes, we start.
خليك معي. Example. I'll give you example here. A rectangular prism. A rectangular prism with length 8 meters. Okay? Width 5 meters. خلاص? And height, let's say 10 meters. Find the rectangular prism. It is volume. Okay? معايا أبي?
Yes, with you, Mr.
Now here I'm talking about the rectangular prism and I want to find its volume, right?
Right.
What is the volume of the rectangular prism?
Length by width by height. By
Write
height.
the formula. So V equal length multiply width multiply height. This is the formula. The first step always in our work, we write what? The formula. Equal under equal. How much is the length?
The length is 8 meters.
8 meter. Under length, we put 8. The width?
The width 5 meters.
5. Under width, we put 5. The height?
10 meters.
Under H, we put 10. Now multiply. 8 by 5, 40 by 10, 400. 400 watts. What's the unit? M, meter, right? M, but not M power 2 like the area. No, it is M power
3.
3. Why 3? Because I have 3 dimensions for the volume. Got it? And what we call M power 3 in the area, guys, M power 2, we call it a square meter, right?
Right.
Right?
Right.
Here we call it cubic. Cubic. Cubic means power 3. Cubic meter. Okay? So you can write 400 cubic meter or 400 meter power 3. One of them is enough, not both of them. Okay?
Meter power of 3 is like shortcut to cubic meter.
What?
Like shortcut. Shortcut.
Yep, it's shortcut of the cubic meters. Okay? So it's enough meter power 3. This is how we find the volume. Is this clear يا ابني?
Yes.
Good. طيب ريان. Yes, Rayyan.
Mister, you said like in the first B, V equal B capital H.
Yes.
This
What's
we
B?
write it.
Yeah. It's in general for any prism. For any prism. But here I'm talking about a special case, which is the rectangular prism. For any prism, to find the volume, find the area of its base, multiply by its height. I said that. But here I'm talking only about
The rectangular prism.
it has its special formula. Got
Okay.
it? But when we talk about other prisms, we will say that V equal big BH. Because the base here is what? Look here. What's the base here? It is rectangle, right?
Yes.
And what's the base here?
Here, triangle.
It's a triangle. So the base area different from a prism to other prism. Get it?
Yes.
That's why. Muhammad Kamil.
Yeah, Mr. Is base area is L multiplied W?
Yeah. What's the base here? Look here. What's the base?
The base is the floor or the
ماشي, the floor. What's the figure of the floor? What we call it?
L multiplied W.
يا ابني, what we call it? What's the name of this figure here? What's the name of it?
Prism.
لا إله إلا الله. يا ابني, the floor only. The floor.
Oh,
What
base.
we call it? Huh?
Base.
طيب يا ابني, this room. See this room?
Yeah.
This room here. This room. See it?
Yeah.
يا ابني, I cannot hear you.
Yeah.
Good. Now I'm talking about the floor here. What's the floor? Look. What's the floor? What's the figure of the floor?
A square.
A square or rectangle, right?
Yes.
So this is rectangle or square, whatever. Got it? What's the area of the rectangle? Do you know?
It's the area of a rectangle is A equal BH.
لا يا ابني, the rectangle with length and width. What we say?
A rectangle A equal big BH.
لا إله إلا الله. يا ابني, the rectangle with length and width. What's its area? Do you know?
L multiply W.
Yes, length multiply width. صح؟
Yeah.
هي شايفهم؟
Yeah.
This length by width, from where we get it? The base area. Got it?
Yeah.
Multiply the height. But this case only for rectangular prism, only. Other, no, it has another formula. Got it?
Yes.
Yes. This is the idea. Let's do example 1, guys. Yeah. Let's do
We
example
can
1.
write it LWH without writing multiply.
Yeah, without multiply. Yeah, we are in algebra. Yeah. LWH, yes. But I focused here on multiply, just to be sure that you understand it. So let's take example 1. Yeah, together. Read it, Tamim. Example 1.
Okay, mister. Find the volume of a rectangular prism. Many sugar cubes
Page
measure
what? Page what, Yabni?
487.
Yeah. We are on page 487, guys. So go to example 1, please. There. Read.
Find the volume of a rectangular prism. Many sugar cubes measure 1/4 inch on each side. The box shown is packed full of sugar cubes. What is the volume of the box?
This is the box here. عصير الزاكي. بتعرفوا يا تميم؟
Yes.
Yeah. How much the length يا تميم? Do you see the box in front of you?
Yes, mister.
What's the length?
3 and 1/2. 3.5.
ممتاز. What is the width?
1.5.
What's the height of it?
6 inch.
They want us to find what?
The volume of the box.
Good. Yeah. What's the formula for this volume?
V, mister, equal S3.
لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله. يا ابني what is the formula for the volume for the rectangular prism؟ من أول الكلاس إحنا إيش قاعدين نحكي بهالفورمولا فيش غيرها. هي هالفورمولا شايفها؟ هي شايفها يا ابني؟
Yes.
احكيها يا أخي.
LX WH.
إيش إكس يا ابني؟ شو اللي إكس؟ يا حبيبي اقرأ.
V equal LX.
مش إكس يا ابني، هاي multiply.
Okay. L multiply W multiply H.
What's the L?
The length and the W
What's
width.
the W? What's the
And
height? H.
H.
يلا say the formula حبيبي الله يسعدك.
Okay. Length multiply width multiply height.
Height. يلا. Equal under equal. How much the length in the question?
3.5.
3.5.
Multiply
How
1
much
and
the
a half.
width? 1.5.
Multiply
How much the
6
height?
inch. 6 inch.
Bas. Is this difficult?
No, mister.
Multiply these three numbers together. It will be 31.5. What's the unit?
Inch.
Inch.
Yes.
Power.
3.
Always.
Okay.
This is example 1. It's easy one. Now, if you see your book, guys, they make some calculations here to talk about the surface area, the base area, sorry. And down here, look. Do you see my book? What's the
Yes.
answer?
But mister, can you zoom it a little bit? Yes, now we can see it.
It is 331.5, the same of our answer on the board, okay?
Okay.
Now, let's see the check after this example. Oops, sorry guys, we need to stop here. I'm running out of time. It will be finished now soon. So we'll stop in example 1. Tomorrow, inshallah, we'll continue this lesson. Inshallah. We'll continue in this lesson.
Okay.
Hope you understand it very well. Study it very well. Tomorrow we will finish. Thank you so much and have a good day.
Goodbye, mister.
Bye.